Hey, it's Hunt. You found Hunt on Saints. We're talking black and gold football. Do us a favor. Hit the like button, share your comments below, and hit that subscription button so you can get all of our content. Enjoy. Mickey Loomis, Saints general manager, was on with Adam Shine on Mad Dog Sports Radio, part of Sirius XM, and he was talking about the draft pick of Kool-Aid McKinstry and whether or not that meant they were looking to shop Marshon Lattimore.
Yeah, it doesn't mean anything. Marshon's been a really good player for us for a good period of time. He's one of the leaders of our team, and look, like it's just like I said, we can use as many corners as we can get, and we've got a good group, a really good group, and they're going to help each other, and they're going to help our team win.
I agree with everything that Mickey said there. They've got a really good group at cornerback. Marshon Lattimore, when he's healthy, is an excellent cornerback. Alontae Taylor has played very, very well. Paulson Adebo has played very, very well. Like, those guys are really solid players. And you see Jordan Howden and playing some safety and some slot. Then you bring in Kool-Aid McKinstry, who's a high draft pick. Like, they've got a really good group there at cornerback. And Marshon Lattimore's case is an interesting one because you drafted him in 2021 and immediately he comes out and is the defensive rookie of the year, was a great cover corner from the day he set foot on an NFL field. And he made 3 Pro Bowls and was exceptionally durable for the first, call it 5 years of his career. The last 2 years have been rather bumpy. He played 7 games in 2022 and 10 games in 2023. So you're talking about missing an entire season over the last 2 years. He missed 10 games in 22 and 7 games in 2023. That's a total of 17. He had been really durable before that. He's 28 years old when he plays this season, and you've got an opt-out after this year in the contract. So we'll see what the Saints' plan is for Marshon Lattimore. Clearly, the 2024 New Orleans Saints will be a better team if he's available to them. That's obvious. What we don't know is what a return for Marshon Lattimore could look like. And if you're looking at the Jalen Ramsey trade and looking at some of the corners that have moved, like, the return has not been super awesome. Like, if you could get a second-round pick for Marshon Lattimore, I think I'd be in for that moving forward. But I don't think that's available. I think you're looking more towards the back end of the draft. And at that point, is that worth it? Probably not. But that's something that we don't know. If the Saints were to move on from Marshon Lattimore, we would know unequivocally that they're in a bit of a reset here. We've suggested that we think that's what they're doing based on the moves that we've seen this offseason, but it's not that obvious. Like, if I looked at the Saints offseason and I said, okay, they've signed a bunch of guys to cheap one-year deals. They did not mortgage a bunch of draft picks to move up to get one guy early in the draft. You would suggest that's a little different than what we've seen the Saints do over the years. But it's not like it's not a fire sale, okay? And I don't expect to see a fire sale, but what I think we're seeing is a bit of a reset. Although I don't think it's going to include moving Marshon Lattimore. When they picked Kool-Aid McKinstry, that's the first thing I thought of was, that feels like they're moving on from Lattimore. And they may at the end of this season. And this all bundles back into the stuff that I've been talking about with New Orleans for the last month. Everything they do needs to be with an eye on 2025, 2026, 2027, because I just don't feel great about 2024. And that may be why they took Kool-Aid McKinstry. Because if you look at it and everyone stays healthy, which is a huge if, he doesn't have a very quick path to the field. Lattimore's going to be out there. Adebo's going to be out there. Taylor's going to be out there. And they've got, in terms of secondary players, Matthew and Howden and Jonathan Abram. Like, they've got a lot of guys that have played a lot of football, some at a very high level. McKinstry doesn't fit in immediately. But you know what? If that pick was made because you think that Marshon Lattimore is going to be moving on after this year and you want to pair Kool-Aid McKinstry with Alontae Taylor and Paulson Adebo and continue that run of really good defensive back play while cleaning up a little bit of money off your books as Marshon Lattimore moves on, that seems like a good idea to me. But as I continue to have these thoughts and look at it from that perspective, I also have to come back from the other side and go, Dennis Allen can't sit there and stand for that. Because if you don't go all in on this season, it may be Dennis Allen's last as a head coach in football. Like, that's realistic. The first 2 years haven't been that great. And if this one doesn't go that great, well, you kind of know what happens next. And that was my fear in this offseason, is that you would have a Saints organization in desperate need of cutting out the long-term contracts, making sure you draft a lot of players, being cautious in free agency, understanding that there are some aging players on this team. All that needed to be the mindset. But as you look at Dennis Allen, he can't operate with that as the mindset because he'll be gone. He'll be the defensive coordinator for the Colts if that's the case. But it seems like they are slowing things down a little bit. Again, it would be black and white if Lattimore was dealt. I just don't think the return is going to be there for that. So I expect him to be there. As far as that contract goes with potential opt-out, I just don't know what the market would be for Marshon Lattimore, being that he's coming off 2 injury-plagued seasons. He's entering his age 28 season. He's playing a young man's position. And he hasn't been out there as much the last couple of years. I don't think there's a huge market for that. So the Saints will hold on to him, and they'll have a really good secondary. As much as I've kind of downplayed this Saints roster until you don't feel great about it, I feel good about the secondary. And with Marshon Lattimore in there, that's all the more reason to feel really good about the secondary. And it's a pass-happy league, and having that as one of the strengths of your team, if not the strength of your team, makes a lot of sense. That first thought I had when they drafted McKinstry was like, oh, really? Drafting to a strength of your team? But then as I start to think about it more and more, even though Mickey Loomis says they're not going to trade Marshon Lattimore, not actively looking to trade Marshon Lattimore, I'm thinking, no, but you know what? It's okay if Kool-Aid McKinstry doesn't play a lot this year. See what you got in him, and if it's good enough that you can move on from Marshon Lattimore and feel good about the secondary that you got after he leaves, that's a good thing. Hey, it's On. Thanks for watching Hunt on Saints. Before you leave, help us out a little bit. Hit that like button, leave your comments in the section below, and hit that subscribe button so you get all our content right here from Hunt on Saints. We'll see you next time.